These days, headlines use a lot of hyperbole and a lot of clickbait to get your attention. This is not that. I'm wondering if we are really about to enter a civil war in the United States. PBS NewsHour reported last night that the military is poised to invade Chicago, for lack of any other word. We know that ICE has been there. We know that Christina Ohm, dog killer, has been there, and they wouldn't let her into the police department to go to the bathroom, presumably because they're worried they'd haul out any Hispanic or maybe even black police officers. But now the military? Is the military really going to roll into Chicago? Will military commanders really order their troops into an American city? We're about to find this out. Maybe it's happening at the time that you're watching this. It seems to be any moment now that they could be rolling into Chicago. What will the reaction be? I can tell you this. The reaction from Democrats has been to find their voice, to find their opposition, and to stand strong for the things that are best for all Americans, not just Democrats, all Americans. Look, you think invading Chicago with the military is only going to hurt Democrats because J.B. Pritzker, the governor, is a Democrat, so therefore you're only hurting Democrats? There are Republicans, thousands of Republicans, maybe millions of Republicans in Chicago. Cities are not all one or the other. You don't have policies that only affect Republicans or only affect Democrats. These policies affect everyone. For instance, the cuts that Democrats are taking a stand on. And Hakeem Jeffries has been amazing. If you haven't been watching, you should look. I'm sure he's on YouTube and TikTok showing the way that he's being confronted by Republican lawmakers who don't want to have to face the truth. They don't want to have to stand up and stand for Americans to have health care. What we're seeing is that Democrats have found their voice, their message, and the message is getting out there because it's the truth. We don't want to have 1 trillion people taken off of Medicaid. We don't want to have millions of people see their health care premiums double and triple before the end of the year. And that's what we're talking about here. That's what Democrats are fighting against. And by the way, the latest lie about illegals getting Medicaid because they go into emergency rooms, I found a statistic for you on ABC News. It came out today. Less than 0.4% of all Medicaid spending had to do with illegals who went into an emergency room in a life-threatening situation. That's across 38 states, 0.4%. To put that into easy-to-understand numbers, $9.36 for everyone who's on Medicaid is what that cost, 0.4%. Not the kind of big deal that they talk about. Kind of like how they talk about illegal voting. Oh, we have all these illegal voters. There were like 7 in the last presidential election. So the other thing I want to get across here, on top of the fact that this is not Republican versus Democrat, this is MAGA versus all of us. This is the rich. The Midas Touch is sharing reporting that Donald Trump is completely not even running the show. He's completely lost his mind. This happened when Reagan was president, especially his second term. They rolled him out in front of the TV, and in this case, we'd be talking about social media, but he wasn't the one making decisions. I think it's Stephen Miller, because Trump says whatever the last person who spoke to him says. I think Stephen Miller spreads all this hate and nastiness, and then Trump, who doesn't have much left, goes out in front of the cameras and repeats whatever Stephen Miller said. Portland's on fire. He says things that are patently not true. People are starting to see this, and that's a good thing. Democrats are finding their voice. We're realizing that Trump is not now out for anybody's best interest, and now perhaps he's not even the one running the country at a time where we could be in civil war. We've got to stay together. We've got to remember the enemy is not each other. It is not your neighbor. It is the MAGA group that are threatening all of our lives. My name is Bill. I'm a college professor in Dallas, Texas. Thanks for watching.